And welcome again to the Dave LewAllen podcast. We cover sports stories, newsmakers, and difference makers in our community and across the state of Michigan. And my guest today is Claude Molinari. He is the president and CEO of Visit Detroit, the Detroit Metro and Convention and Visitors Bureau. Great to have you here, Claude. Thank you for the time. Thanks for making the trip here. Excited to talk about what is exciting, and that is Detroit as a destination for visitors, for conventions. That's your world, and you have a lot to say and a story to tell for sure.
Well, no doubt. I mean, the perception of Detroit, as a destination for vacation travelers, meetings, conventions, and large sporting events has changed so much. And frankly, over the last decade, I think that we've really gained a following as a destination that really didn't exist before.
We want to talk about some of those specifics, what is coming in the years ahead, an opportunity to reflect as well. But you've been here for a good long time now, came originally as the assistant manager of Huntington Place.
Yes.
Was there for the renovation of that and then took over as general manager before moving into your current role. And you were telling me about the history of Visit Detroit, the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Dates back 130 years.
Yeah, 1896, you've got Milton Carmichael invented the Convention and Visitors Bureau. So Detroit is, among many other firsts, Detroit is the first Convention and Visitors Bureau in the world. And they thought, let's bring conventions to the city. That'll bring business. And 129, almost 130 years later, here we are, and doing that. And the funny thing is, in the entire history of the Bureau, I'm only the 10th CEO, and one guy only lasted a year and a half. So think about the typical longevity. My predecessor was there for 24 years.
Yeah, Larry Alexander, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Larry, so did a great job as well. So, there's many things to touch on here, what's coming down the road, but let's reflect for a moment because, one of the events that really put Detroit in the spotlight over the past couple of years was the NFL draft.
No doubt.
That, I was privileged to work with you and the Detroit Sports Commission a little bit, small role in that, but what a wonderful experience. And over 750,000 people attended, record-setting. It was a spectacular success by all accounts.
No doubt. And over 50 million people watched it on TV as well. And all those drone shots of people seeing the city, seeing the riverfront, seeing the beautiful blue water of that pure Michigan Great Lakes water throughout our region, really changed. It was a validation of our destination, frankly. People changed their opinion of our city. And of course, the MVP was the citizens of Detroit. Yeah. It was just a fantastic event full of happy people doing great stuff. And, we talk about, there was over $250 million in economic impact, but 167 million of that money was from outside of the area, 100 miles or greater. So it really showed that we brought people from all over the country, all 50 states, people from all over the world, frankly, to send it on Detroit and had an amazing experience.
So that was April of 2024. Now, a year and a half later, essentially, what are the benefits, ongoing benefits of having a successful event like with the magnitude of the NFL draft?
Yeah, it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving. People still bring it up to us. I mean, I don't imagine I go a month without somebody saying, "Oh my God, you guys killed the NFL draft. It was so amazing. And changed my opinion of your destination, your city. I couldn't believe how beautiful it was." And I think that those are the kind of things that keep on rolling. And again, it's on our resume now. So when we're looking to book something, I think that having a sensational, impactful NFL draft helped us to acquire the Final Four, helped us to acquire, just recently, we beat Nashville for the National Order of the Fraternal Order of Police, a huge convention that has, 3,000 attendees coming to the city. It was down to us in Nashville. And, being able to sell the story of how we've done so many successful events, that helps us to get the next several.
All right, so you lead the charge with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and you've got a wonderful team that works with you. But you don't do this all alone in terms of landing successful events. It takes a coordinated effort. And the NFL draft was a perfect example of that. I mean, you
Oh,
had
God, yeah.
cooperation and buy-in from the Duggan administration, county officials, region-wide and across the state as well. And everybody worked together. I think everybody understood, right, how impactful this event would be and, did everything possible to make sure it would be a home run success.
Dave, you're so right there. And between the rocket companies, the city of Detroit, the Downtown Detroit Partnership, and then Visit Detroit and the Detroit Sports Commission, we were like one team. And people would sometimes mistaken things. They'd be like, oh, so you work for the Bureau? Oh, no, I'm with the city of Detroit. Oh, you work with Rocket? No, I work with, so it was a great collaboration. And frankly, it's a blueprint for a lot of the things we're doing forward or coming in the future. And moving forward, we've got this blueprint that we're going to use, a template. And when we worked on the Final Four, we just recently we sent a team to to San Antonio, and I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? Like we're over, like the team is right back together again. And I think that's really great. And again, I think that Mayor Duggan was just such a champion of making it happen. I couldn't say enough. And of course, Dan Gilbert and the Rocket companies, they, besides being a partner who invested in the event and, and paying the fees, they also presented and provided staff that really stepped up. I mean, they took people and basically said, all right, you're working on the draft now. Yeah. And that was hugely important and impactful.
Yeah. Claude Molinari, the president and CEO of Visit Detroit, my guest on the Dave LewAllen podcast today. The next, I guess, well, you've got a lot of events coming. I mean, there's girls hockey coming up in November. Canada and the U.S., I mean, a world invite that's going to be at arenas all across, Southeast Michigan as well. You got so many things coming, but I guess, the 2027 Final Four, the Final Four coming back to Detroit again at Ford Field, is maybe close to being on par with an NFL draft or a Super Bowl or All-Star games, right?
No question. And I think anyone who was around in 2009 won't recognize the Final Four that they'll see in 2027. We were in San Antonio last year, and just the outdoor concerts that they have with main acts, that alone could be a great weekend event. Like they had, I was like blown away. And then of course the Fan Fest, which will take up every inch of the convention center. I mean, there was this one basketball court. It was like Superman's Fortress of Solitude with all like frozen snow and the court lit up. I was just like, this is amazing. And by the way, there's also 3 basketball games. Yeah. So it's incredible. It's a whole festivity. It takes up the whole city. And what's great about it is, the whole March Madness, all roads will be leading to Detroit. Right. And I think that'll be great for us.
Well, and the regionals have been a huge success.
No doubt.
Over the years, which are, again, a lead up to that. So, people are familiar college basketball fans with the fact that Detroit has been a host and has history and legacy in this regard. And certainly you don't want this to be the last Final Four or the last regionals that come here.
Dave, you're right on there. And the funny thing is we're hosting the Final Four in 27, and in 28 we're hosting again the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. So that'll be at Little Caesars Arena the following year. So we're staying in that mix now. And I think that's one of the most important things is that now we're one of those, we're not just like a one and done type of city. People are saying like we are going to continue to use Detroit as a vehicle to promote these major events. And that's why, my other move is always to not miss an opportunity to talk to our friends at Lansing about presenting or passing large special event legislation, because we are playing at a great disadvantage.
Well, and let's get into that, because that was part of the presentation at the Mackinac Policy Conference this year as well. You're a nonprofit, and your operating revenues come from basically hotels and taxes and whatnot for people who stay. But to put on these huge events, it takes tremendous resources, and you do not have a regular funding mechanism, right? To
Right.
support all of the good that Visit Detroit does for the city and for the region.
And we want to be really clear, like for the normal events, the big events like the NCAA Sweet 16 Elite Eight, like the Frozen Four hockey tournament, like a lot of the WWE, some of these events that we do, like we've got that covered. We can handle that. But it's the mega events. It's like the WrestleMania or the Final Four or the NFL Draft, where you're talking about a whole different lift. And states like Texas and Indiana, they've got built-in revenue source ready for that. So like when they win those awards, they're all high-fiving. And when we win, we're afraid we won't win it, and we're terrified we will.
Yeah.
Because we've got to get, the fundraising out there. And I joke about Claude fatigue. Some of our corporate partners like, oh, Claude, please, we just gave you for the draft. We can't be given more.
Yeah.
And so again, I think as a state, we really need to make a decision. Do we want to host these events regularly or not? Because I can guarantee you this, every time they announce the next wave or these are the cities that are going to be awarded, you guarantee that either Houston, San Antonio, or Dallas will get one of them. Because Texas has got that model in place and they see the ROI on it. We're not asking for a handout. We'll even front the money. We just need the state to help us to offset these costs that have a huge benefit, not just in economic impact, but also they present the city, the region, and the state in such a positive light.
Well, and haven't you sold the concept with the success of events like the NFL Draft? I mean, there's even been, sadly, in the legislature, the fight over the Pure Michigan campaign and the dollars associated there. And we know how important tourism is for the entire state of Michigan, but certainly, for our major city, our largest city, Detroit.
Well, and I think that the Pure Michigan has done a bunch of studies and says that like for every dollar invested in tourism marketing, it pays back $4 to the state. And I think that's even conservative. What I do, I talk to some of the legislators and they may say, well, people already know us. We don't have to advertise as much. And I was like, well, so you're running for your third term. So, you don't need to, you're not going to put out any yard signs, right? You're not going to put out any mailers. You're not going to advertise on TV. I mean, everybody knows you, right? So you don't have to be like, I see what you're doing, Claude. All right, I get it. So you're trying to put it in a way that makes a difference. But I'll give you this, Dave. Just the revenue from tourism in Southeast Michigan, Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb County, just that region is the equivalent of selling 235,000 Jeep Grand Cherokees, which is 12,000 more than they sold in their best year.
Yeah.
So just tourism for Southeast Michigan is the equivalent of selling a top 10 vehicle in the United States of America. And again, Jeep is fantastic. It's not a shot at them. It's like, look at all they're doing, but tourism in Southeast Michigan is more.
Yeah. So what are the next steps in that process? Is it just a matter of continuing to impress upon these legislators who come and go, frankly, but continue to consistently tell the story and explain the need to be able to have this mechanism in place?
There's no question. And I think we're trying to get the legislators to say, let's have an annual appropriation that's locked into the budget, and it can help all, Grand Rapids, Traverse City, other destinations, Saginaw, they can also host large events. There's different criteria, like Detroit will have a much higher criteria than, let's say, Grand Rapids. But, and just bring this to, so that we're not, because what'll always happen is the selection committee will typically say, where's the venue? How many hotel rooms can you give us? And where's your money coming from? And we're like, we got the venue. Sometimes we don't have enough hotel rooms, but sometimes we do. But then the money is always like, well, we're going to raise the money. And history says that we're going to be successful. But they're always like, oh, I don't know. That's questionable.
Right. Eliminate that question mark there.
Exactly.
All right. And you mentioned hotel rooms. So let's go there for a moment because over the last decade, Detroit has added a lot of hotels. And there are more ready to come online. In fact, Visit Detroit is an equity partner in a private-public
Well,
partnership.
actually, Visit Detroit is not, Dave. The Detroit Regional Convention Facility, and
right.
I'm the chair. A lot of times it gets confused
All
with everybody. But as the chairman of the regional authority that oversees the convention center, we invested $150 million into this hotel to maintain an equity position. And a lot of people act like it's my idea. I stole this idea from Chicago, Cleveland, Indianapolis, Memphis. A lot of cities do this. It's government needs to get involved sometimes because a 5-star hotel is going to cost a lot of money,
Right.
and it's hard to get loans from the bank. But this is going to be a slam dunk. This JW Marriott is going to be super successful, and I'm hopeful, frankly, that before we're finished with this hotel, we're going to start another one, because just over the last 5 years, we've lost over 600,000 room nights from events that just said we would have come here, but your hotel inventory doesn't allow us to. So we have a convention center that can host almost every event in the country, a football stadium that can do the same, arena, but the hotel inventory, people, as soon as you say, well, we'll bus your people to the suburbs, they're like, and we're out.
Yeah.
It's always got to be how many hotel rooms are within walking distance, and if you have them connected to the center, that's even better. And so we're at least another 2,000 rooms short of being in that position. And same thing out in Novi. A lot of people discount how big that building is. That's the 50th largest convention center in the country. And they also are in a position of, the building can host every event, but there's not enough hotel rooms out there to support the event.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the hotel because of the aspect of it on the riverfront, but also will be connected directly to Huntington Place, which will be a first. So you don't have to go out into the elements to get from your hotel into the convention center. I mean, I experienced that in Indianapolis. They've had that for years, and it's been a huge thing for them in terms of attracting events to Indianapolis.
That's how they beat us.
You're going to have that now with this JW Marriott. It's a Sterling Group that the
partnered with them.
The authority has partnered with. That's a game changer for you.
No doubt. I mean, it's huge for us, and nothing sells like hope. And this is coming. And again, we want to do another one attached to the convention center. But you mentioned Indianapolis. When we're finished with this 600-room hotel, we'll actually be 200 rooms further behind Indianapolis, because while we're building a 600, they're building an 800. So, it is a bit of an arms race, but there is ROI here. I mean, as an equity partner, the convention center is going to profit somewhere between $5 and $7 million a year off of just the hotel. So, there's great benefit to doing it. And I think that, it's in our best interest to build another one so that we can rise, the rising tide raises all boats. It's going to help all of the hotels in Southeast Michigan to have a greater inventory so we can book more major events.
Well, and the major events that we've been blessed to have, and the others that are coming down the road, there's still some work to be done, because we haven't had an NHL All-Star game here since, I think, 1980. Right? NBA All-Star game hasn't been here forever. We have had a Major League Baseball All-Star game, but, it'd be nice to have that back again as well. These teams, Detroit is uniquely positioned again with all 4 stadiums, 100%. All 4 teams with their stadiums within a small footprint. I mean, Detroit is unique in that way as well.
Actually, we're the only city in the world that has all 4 Major League sports teams playing right in the heart of downtown, all within a mile of each other. Like Philadelphia has all of them next to each other, but it's not downtown. So you can literally come right downtown, get on the People Mover, go on the Q line, and be right in the heart of the action and go from place to place, all within sight distance of each other. And it's a really unique circumstance. And it's just a wonderful circumstance for our city.
I'm really excited because I mentioned my interest in pickleball.
Yes.
And the Major League Pickleball is coming to the Suburban Showcase in Novi. That's exciting. And baseball card collecting has been a thing since I was a kid. And the National sports memorabilia or collector's
Yes,
show is
yes.
coming also to Detroit. And
Yeah,
that's a huge event.
they call it the National. And what was cool about that, is that we beat Atlanta for that. It was head to head. We were the two finalists, and we were able to beat them, which is hugely important for us, and our bragging rights over other cities. And it is just a great event, and it'll fill up the entire convention center. And that's the kind of event, once they book you, they a lot of times will come back in successive years. So this could be like an every other year, every third year type of thing. And it's a huge economic impact for the region. And again, it's during the summer when we can fill up all kinds of hotel rooms. So I'm really excited about what this is going to mean for us. And it's one of those really beneficial, because you're bringing people from all over the country and other parts of the world, and they'll fill up our restaurants and go to our attractions and do all those kind of things.
Yeah. And it's largely been a Midwest-based event. I mean, Chicago and Cleveland, return visits there. So yes, if you're in that rotation, that's a great thing in the middle of the country. And yes, I mean, with the sports facilities and everything else going on, I mean, it's a natural fit.
And you mentioned the pickleball. Marty Dobek, who leads our Detroit Sports Commission, he did a masterful job of negotiating with them and enticing them and the team to come to Novi. And again, that's going to be, I think, as things move forward, it's going to be more and more popular, pickleball, and I think that the professional pickleball will also start to pick up, and we're on the ground floor there.
Yeah, fastest growing sport in the country, pickleball. So there you have it. In your role, you are working, advocating, meeting. I mean, you got a million balls in the air all the time. How do you identify events that you want to go after, prepare, to bid for them? I mean, these are things that you're working on now that maybe will come into fruition, 2, 3, 4 years down the road?
I was just in Las Vegas negotiating for an event for 2035.
Really?
So it's like a decade from now. And we look at, I mean, it's sometimes you look at various needs. If right now, if someone was to come and say like, hey, we got, a big event for 2027, we'd be like, our cup is full. Yeah. Like we're pretty tough, as far as like large events from that standpoint. But it is a challenge. And, part of it is like, we get back to that, we're at any given time, we may have 20 or 25 RFPs out there. And if we were to get all 25, we would be like, all right, we got to turn some of these away. We wouldn't be able to host them all.
Nice problem to have.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and the work has paid off in that way. Any chance that we get the NFL draft back? I mean, I'm sure with all the positive that's something that would be high on your priority list.
No doubt. We need to get some space between it. Some other cities are going to have to get it again. I think Pittsburgh is going to give us a run for our money as far as trying to meet our attendance record. We're going to have to see how that goes. Like, I'm not going to go just to not help them, but that's definitely something that's on our radar for the future. And we think, before the end of the decade, we'd probably be bidding on that again as well, because it was so successful. And a lot of times people say, well, what about, another Super Bowl? But, a lot of times for the National Football League to choose a cold weather city, you've got to build like a brand new stadium. Yeah. Like that's the reward. You saw like Minneapolis and New York City got Super Bowls, and how coincidentally they just built a brand new, facility. So I think that's the deal for that.
Yeah. Well, we've had experience with that as well, and it would be great. But let's be honest. I mean, the impact of the NFL draft, I mean, that wasn't far off from what a Super Bowl means for a city, right?
Oh, yeah. And the cost was much more palatable. Yeah. We didn't have to raise as much. Super Bowl is a massive thing. And I think, I imagine that moving forward, probably every third or fourth Super Bowl is going to be in Las Vegas. Yeah. I mean, it just seems like they're really, I joke that, the 702 area code, they basically spend all the money. They used to just host all the boxing, but now I think they're going to continue to really be, strong in that field. And especially now that they've got, major league teams. So, when it comes to sports, Indianapolis is a big competition, but Las Vegas, I think, is going to be our biggest challenge moving forward. And we're going to have to compete against them.
Yeah, well, they got the Raiders now, and of course, the Oakland Athletics are playing in Sacramento now, but will be coming to Vegas. They've broken ground on a baseball stadium there as well. A couple of other things that I think are really important for Detroit. One of them, and for Visit Detroit, one of them is the tariffs that we have going on right now.
Sure.
Sharing our border with Canada and the tremendous numbers of people that go back and forth. There've been some relationship damage, if you will, and I'm sure we're seeing that in terms of visitor counts and things of that sort. Clearly, that's a concern for you in promoting tourism in our region.
No question. I don't believe it's unpatriotic to just point out the true facts that we're down 30% in Canadian visitors since the federal government, between the two countries have had differences of opinion, and that's really had an impact. Our shopping, our attractions, our restaurants, and then our hotels all suffer when we lose that. And again, this is one of the largest border crossings in the country, and we've got the Gordie Howe Bridge coming online. I mean, how's that groundbreaking going to go? Or not groundbreaking, or the grand opening. That's like it's going to be an interesting circumstance. But I am very hopeful that we can repair our relationship with Canada. I'm not upset with them for being upset with us. They're boycotting. I wish that wasn't the case, but when we repair this relationship, we'll be ready to host them again. And we've certainly maintained some advertising in Canada just to say, like, hey, we're not tone deaf. We understand you're upset, but, we miss you and we want you to come back.
Yeah. And behind the scenes, I'm sure, working with your counterparts and interfacing with all the people that are important in your world.
Oh, no doubt. And we've worked very well with my counterpart in Windsor, Essex. His name is Gordon Orr. He's a great guy. And again, we're both, this type of thing doesn't help either one of us. We really we miss our Canadian visitors.
Yeah. And then the other thing, we've mentioned Mike Duggan and his role in terms of supporting, making his administration integral in terms of events and event success. He made the decision not to seek a fourth term. He's going to is running for governor as an independent. So there will be a mayor who follows Mayor Mike Duggan.
Yes.
And, that individual will be important in terms of continuing the momentum or not, of downtown Detroit and the city of Detroit. Certainly, that's something that you're very focused on as well.
Oh, no doubt. And we believe that, we've had a wonderful relationship with Mayor Duggan. He's been a great champion for sports and entertainment and major events. I mean, he's really been, a stalwart supporter of our efforts. And I believe that it's in the best interests of anybody who's sitting in the mayor's office to be a partner towards that. And certainly if it's the city council president, the city council has always been very supportive, or if it's the other candidate, then, we'll build a relationship there and try to, espouse the values of these things. And again, one of the things we do, I'm not a politician, but it's my mission to put people to work. I always say, if I'm doing my job well, then the only Southeast Michiganders that come to these events are the ones that are being paid to do so, that are getting their workers there. Yeah. When we book a major convention and we put carpenters, teamsters, ironworkers, electricians, stagehands, service employees, everybody to work, fill up restaurants, that means jobs for Michiganders, and that's really one of our most critical things. So I've rarely ever found a politician who didn't think it was a good idea to bring things that would put their constituents, to give them, work that's meaningful and can be very lucrative.
Yeah. Anything else on the horizon? Anything else that we haven't touched on that maybe is important in your world as it relates to visitors to Detroit? Or certainly Michigan Central Station has been a beacon also.
Oh, God,
and the
yeah.
expansion of the Motown Museum is going to be hugely significant as well.
There's so many. It's interesting when you're looking at like a destination. A lot of times, the people who are going to choose to come or not, to look at, all right, what are the positive and negative differentiators? Like positive, Delta's second largest hub in the world is located in Detroit. Maybe negative, they don't have enough hotel rooms currently, but they're on the way. And when I look at things like the Henry Ford Museum, Greenfield Village, like an amazing attraction that drives people to Southeast Michigan all the times. And certainly the Michigan Central Station. I mean, that train station transformation is so important. And I used to drive past it and be like, what an eyesore. And it was like emblematic of a lost Detroit, one that, and it was kind of like the building was obsolete almost before it was completed. It only really had 10% legitimate occupancy. The top 5 floors were never even completed.
Yeah.
And now it's this golden, glowing, beautiful building that's almost like you're transformed to a different time and place. And it's the hub for autonomous vehicles, electrification, automobility. It is gone from an eyesore to a piece of artwork. And I think it's really amazing. And, we're going to be hosting the largest global travel show in the world in 2028 with U.S. Travel. It's called IPW. And there'll be people from all over the world. And it's likely our opening night reception will be in the Central Station. And when we showed the people from U.S. Travel, here's where we could do this, they were like, oh my God. I was like, we got them. We're going to get this event now.
And you just had travel writers here as well, from the U.S., right? Again, they will now tell Detroit's story, what they experienced during their visit here.
Yeah, the American Travel Writers Association was here, and there's over 200 of them. We said we need 600 stories about Southeast Michigan and Detroit, and we took them all over the place, and from the riverfront downtown to the suburbs, all over Southeast Michigan, and they were blown away. It's almost, Dave, I tell you, sometimes it's almost insulting when people, I'm so shocked, I'm so surprised, I had no idea. I'm almost like, what were you expecting? Do you think you'd be dodging bullets or something? Like Mary Barra doesn't live in a bullet-ridden house. This is a great city, a great destination. And I think that these travel writers who will then write stories that hopefully will inspire people from all over the world to come and check out the great city of Detroit in Southeast Michigan.
And you'll continue to tell the story yourself as well to all of these constituencies that you deal with. Claude, thank you for this today.
My pleasure.
This has been great to catch up with you and the work and what's to come in Detroit and in Southeast Michigan as it relates to tourism. So thank you for that. Claude Molinari is the president and CEO of Visit Detroit, and my guest today on the Dave LewAllen podcast. We cover sports stories, newsmakers, and difference makers in our community and across the state of Michigan. We certainly thank you for joining us on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you go for your podcasts, and our new partner, WJR Radio, and the website, thegreatvoice.com. You can find us there as well, and we're excited about that. Until next time, stay safe, be kind.